Hey guys, it's the Gundam Boy, and now that I'm done caving in skulls of wild animals, I'm gonna talk about the 3 shields. Today, we're gonna be looking at the Ballistic Shield, the Shield Generator, and the Directional Shield. That's a lot of shields. So, first up, we have the Ballistic Shield Backpack, which is just a riot shield that you can hold with one hand while holding a weapon in the other. This thing excels at protecting against small arms fire and anything else that hits it. Unless we're talking about something bigger, but we'll get into that later. Then we have the Directional Shield, which is a energy shield that makes you Reinhardt from Overwatch, but the shield also allows teammates to shoot through it while being protected by that wall of energy. Then we have the Shield Generator pack, which basically makes you a Spartan from Halo. First thing I want to cover though is that the Ballistic Shield is capable of blocking melee. So is the Shield Generator backpack, but not the Directional Shield. This guy does not block melee whatsoever. But if you like taking a knuckle sandwich from a heavy devastator, you can be sure that you'll be blocking it with this Ballistic Shield, because it will just ignore it. But you do get a big hefty amount of recoil when he lands the punch. But you're not safe forever. The melees do whittle down the health over time, so keep that in mind. Something you'd also want to keep in mind going up against Scout Striders is that when they shoot you, it also makes your shield bounce around. So if you're trying to aim at them and they start shooting back, just be ready for some recoil. Fun fact, the Ballistic Shield is capable of making even the biggest enemies like Factory Striders have a stroke because they don't know what they're looking at. I think to them, you look like a walking sensor bar with this shield because as soon as you have it up, they don't know that you're there. But as soon as you drop that guard, they're gonna chain gun you, so keep an eye out for that. And it seems like a couple enemies are also affected by it because I could walk in front of this chain gun dude who usually mows people down and he doesn't care. So the fun thing about the Ballistic Shield is that it can tank a shot from base turrets head on, as long as you don't mind getting launched in the other direction, but safe to say you're alive. But there goes your shield, so have fun. Things like Troopers, Devastators, and Heavy Devs cannot damage your shield, though if they are the variant of Trooper and Devastator that have rockets, they can. You can block the rocket, but it will knock you over and do a lot of damage to your shield. There's also a variant of Heavy Turret that I couldn't find, but they can break your shield. So, small little blasters? Okay. Heavy blasters? Will break your shield. But, rockets? No. And tank cannons? Good luck. With the add-on for melee being blocked with this Ballistic Shield, it has been seen being used way more against the bugs, because now it actually has a purpose. No more of the days of crying that the Ballistic Shield can't block melee. You can block everything now, and it fucks. And you can block a majority of the chaff with this shield, and the only thing you have to worry about is whether they're surrounding you or not. But the shield does still take damage when they hit you. They're pretty big bugs. And since the shield passively protects your back when it's on your back, you have no problems worrying about getting ambushed from behind because the bugs will smack your shield to let you know that they're there. No more receiving back shots. Though I would be careful against something like the Stalker because yes, while it does smack your back, if it hits you with that tongue, it's still gonna send you flying.
In my solitude, I welcome you.
Surprisingly enough, it does have some utility against the Charger if he walks up and decides to flick you away, but when you try to tank something like his head on charge, the results are a bit bad. Just remember, if you're trying to run away from the Charger, the shield still passively blocks whatever it is that hits it, so that means the shield can be yoinked away from you completely. And can we get 5 big booms in the comment from my Helldiver who thought he could block the Bile Titan's laser? Even though you can't block the Bile Titan spit, you can block the spewers. And to the person who said it can block the tendrils, you're wrong. And right. I mean, I didn't die in one shot, but it still did a shit ton of damage. Not ideal. Not ideal. I gotta get out of here. And if you somehow end up in a situation where you get hit by the slowest attack in the universe, just know that you'll be safe with the shield blocking it. But goddamn, it does a shit ton of damage to it.
Man, I really love my powers!
Against the Overseers, I find this one to be perfect for blocking that flying bastard's rapid shots, but do keep in mind if you're standing up a bit too tall, it may hit you. And when it goes up against the Overseers, it has no problem blocking their shots, but your shield will start to get crippled really quickly because these guys hit pretty hard. And they still splash their damage around you, but it's very minor. The Ballistic Shield does lobotomize things like the Harvester as well as the Factory Strider, because for some reason it turns you into a giant walking sensor bar in their eye that they cannot compute, which just makes them fire their laser randomly and for really short bursts. And if I could get this guy to hit me in the shield, I'm pretty sure I'd end up like that car. Even though you're immune to the laser, do keep in mind that the zap that it can do at close range will still go right through the shield, right into you. Moving on to the Directional Shield against the bugs, it's super... It can only block against a spear. I tried against the Bile Titan. It doesn't work. Not having the ability to block melee is kind of a weird thing for an energy shield when the Shield Generator can do it. But the Directional Shield is capable of blocking most small arm fire with no problem. But if you go up against things like the rocket units, they will still knock your ass over. And observe as I get completely split down the middle because this Directional Shield doesn't block melee. And it's nice because this Directional Shield can tank base turrets to the face and regenerate shortly after. But if you're sustaining too much fire from too many sources, you can expect your shield to pop pretty quickly. So try to evade and wait for that thing to recharge, and it recharges fairly quickly if you give it some time. Like, look at that. Ooh. And against a lot of the Illuminate, sure, it can't block things like the Voteless, but it sure can block those annoying-ass enemies like the Overseers. It has no problem blocking against the elevated one, and against the Overseer, when they hit you with that giant Plasma Blast, it still splashes damage around it. As long as you don't eat too many plasma shots, you should do just fine. And against enemies like the Harvesters, as long as you're not exposed to the laser for too long, you can actually parry and block some of these shots. Moving on to the shield generator pack, I wish I had someone better to help me assist with showing up the shield generator, because this guy said he's a pacifist. Mama, pass a fist in your face! And arguably one of the best shields we have access to in the game, we have the shield generator, which lets you use weapons with 2 hands, block melee, and it regenerates after taking damage. You have to look out for things like high rapid fire guns and rockets on the bot front. That video is a lie! And unlike the directional shield, it can block melee. And it can block it in a 360 position since it's an orb around you. But I still wouldn't try to challenge things like chargers because they'll pop that shit like a balloon. And against things like the spear enemies, it does block those dumbass, barfing ass, goofy ass. I hate spears so much. But when it comes up against things like the Bile Titan, it can block it for a brief second to help you get out of the way. But I wouldn't try to tank the whole thing, because the shield will pop before then. And against the Voteless, well, they only can do so much when they have human hands to smack your energy shield. They really can't do anything. And against the Watcher, you can actually block the lightning with the energy shield, and it does nothing to you. Going against the elevated ones, it can block a lot of their shots, but, you know, same thing. Don't sustain too much of their shots, or it'll pop that motherfucker. Just like the directional shield, you can block it for... Yeah, it doesn't really block the laser for too long, but against the Overseers, it does take a lot of your shield out if they hit you, so be aware of that. And the reason why I say the shield generator is goated in comparison to the brothers it has is because when I put this thing at the center of an exploding star, it's the only thing to survive. And yes, the directional shield does explode with the ballistic shield. They both are dead. They're done. They're done. And to confirm that I'm not crazy, I put another hell bomb at the center with the same shield generator backpack just to find out it also survived. And I'm curious, what's your guys' favorite shield in this game, if you use one at all? Be sure to leave it in the comments down below, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Have a good one.